Last draft of the 2025 season. 2 games in the books for week 1. We're going to recap those games. We had one more tonight, just finished, Chargers Chiefs. And we'll get into week 1 as much as we can while we are doing our last draft here, 20 rounds in the NFC RotoWire Online Championship. So make sure you guys jump in the chat, ask whatever you want. I'll try to answer whatever I can. To be honest with you, I've been such in draft mode. I haven't really even been prepared for week 1, but let's prepare it together. So, like, subscribe, share, follow me on X at Fantasy Savvy. I'm one pick in. When I come back, I'll bring back the draft board. Again, last draft of the 2025 season. I'm burnt out. I'm ready for the games to start. We have Saturday college football and then the bonanza of games on Sunday. So, thank you for everybody who's been joining me all draft season. Hopefully you guys are all set. Your lineups are all ready to go. We'll discuss waivers, trades, week 1, start sit, DFS, whatever the hell you want. Steve D'Angelo on X at Fantasy Savvy. Like, subscribe, share. Let's go. And Hoff says, dude, it's midnight. Have a great show. Yeah, man. I just finished a draft and then I joined another draft. So I figured it's my last draft. Might as well get it in because I'm not going to do anything on Saturday. I'm not going to do anything on Sunday. So might as well get one last show in with one last draft. Whatever people want to ask for their lineups, we'll get it in. But I appreciate that, Hoff. Have yourself a good rest of the night. Thanks for jumping in. So, as you see here, the board, I start with Brian Thomas. I had a little bit of a decision to make there. It was between Neighbors and Thomas. I just, Neighbors is so ridiculously explosive, and I love, his talent, obviously. But you can't really go wrong with Brian Thomas. In the end, like the toe injury and the back injuries, and it just felt a little bit safer. I play in a lot of these anyway, so it's like you take risks. And I just did 2 bigger drafts, and I played it kind of safe. I took Kittle in both of those drafts, and I actually got Kittle in the 5th round in the last one, just to get a secure tight end and a secure quarterback. The first one I got Hurts and Kittle, and the second one I got Allen and Kittle. The only issue I had with that was I haven't been drafting like that all year, taking quarterbacks and tight ends within like the first 6 rounds, and when you do that, your teams come out a little bit funky, and I had to take Cooper Kupp for the first time. I've taken him all season long. So I don't know how I feel about those teams. Like, I tried to play it safe. I don't know if I lost my cojones a little bit in those drafts because I did get burnt last year by kind of guessing on quarterback. So I wanted to just get secure quarterback and secure tight end. So just to have those staples in the lineup. But my one team, my receiver room's a little bit suspect. And my other team, my running back room's a little bit suspect. But that's what happens when you take a quarterback and a tight end within like the first 6 rounds, 7 rounds. So, all right, we're back up here. Second pick. Where am I at? All right. Johnny Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Ladd, who had a nice game tonight. Look at Q-Jet. We're going to get into all what happened tonight in a little bit. Haven't been taking a lot of Josh Jacobs, so I'm going to take Chase Brown. Yeah, I think I have 1 or 2. I don't have much of Josh Jacobs, which is probably not ideal because he's such a workhorse. He is solid, and he's a great system, and there's nobody behind him. I mean, Manuel Wilson, Marshall Law can't say, but Chase Brown's going to catch so many balls. I mean, Jacobs going to catch a lot of balls, decent amount of balls too, but Chase Brown, I just think is so safe. I'm not worried about Taj Brooks. So pretty good start here through the first 2 rounds. If you guys have never seen this before, this is 3rd round reversal. So the 12th pick gets the first pick of the 3rd round rather than the first pick getting the first pick of the 3rd round. They did that years ago because of the LTs and the priest homes, and they just kept it in the format. So But if you guys been watching this, you're very familiar with this and you already know. But 6 points for passing touchdown as well. We're probably going to wait on quarterback and tight end in this one, but we'll see where things fall. But let's talk a little bit about what we've seen the last couple nights in the NFL. Last night we had Cowboys and Philly, 24-20 Cowboys. Cowboys covered the spread. The game goes under the total. It was a freaking shootout, 21-20 at half. Then they had that rain delay, and there was only 3 points in the second half. The second half kind of sucked, to be honest with you. Dak was throwing a lot of good balls, a lot of tight balls, some tough catches from the receivers, but a lot of them, like CD, right in his hands. What do you have, 4 drops in that game? Ferguson had a big drop. He got popped a little bit too, but he dropped it before he even got hit in the end zone, so he should have came up with it. So Dak was throwing some ball, some balls in a lot of traffic for sure, but his receivers got to come up with those catches. And then Miles Sanders fumbles, and that just kind of killed the Cowboys. At the end there, they ran that last play. CD drops the ball, and Philly comes away with the win. But I did think that, and Al, our boy, is in here, says, "Sup, Steve? What's up, Al, man? I hope you're having a good night and a good rest of the weekend." But I thought Dak looked pretty good. He was shaking off tackles. He was getting out of pressure, making some throws on the run, throwing some accurate passes. CD looked good, but 3 or 4 drops I think he had. Jake Ferguson, people are kind of on him this year. I don't know what to suspect from Jake Ferguson. Just 5 for 23. I don't know. He had those couple of years where he was just getting a million targets. But excuse me. God bless myself there. CeeDee Lamb with 13 targets. George Pickens, 3 for 30, gets a personal foul, up to his usual antics. I mean, I don't know, man. I love this guy's talent, and he's going to have some better games for sure. He's just still kind of a bonehead, and that's always kind of been the issue with Pickens. And, his routes can be lazy at times. His route running has never been that great. So we'll see. I mean, he kind of felt like a smash this year, coming into Dallas. And their offense certainly looked good. It was well balanced. I thought Schottenheimer called a pretty good game. But we'll have to see about George Pickens. He might just be a little inconsistent, although he certainly could have, a career season in Dallas, especially if Dak is healthy all year. He's going to have some big games. So you don't want to panic too much, but it's just kind of concerning when you see some of the same things that have plagued, Pickens from really, catapulting himself to where he should be because he has so much talent. All right, there goes Josh Allen. Lamar's on the board if I want him. Again, this is third round reversal. And I was towards the back end of the draft, so I'm getting the early pick here in the third round and 6 points for passing touchdown. I mean, there's so many different ways you can go here. James Cook, Breece Hall, Kenny Walker, Trevion. I don't really have a lot of Trevion. You have to reach to get him. Obviously, I'm not going to get him if I don't grab him here. Tyreek, Garrett Wilson, George Kittle, Lamar. I mean, Lamar is the safest pick. Could go Kittle as well. All right, we'll go Lamar here. It's a nice, safe, steady pick in this format. Can't argue with Lamar Jackson. Third round could get a little tricky sometimes. There could be some question marks. Like, you can click on a Tyreek. He might have the best year. You can click on a Harrison. He could still be kind of held back by Kyler Murray. And, Harrison's got to play a little bit better for where he was drafted as well. Devontae Adams, maybe, Stafford gets hurt. And that kind of ruins his season. Hampton didn't have the best game tonight. I really haven't been drafting him. I could have maybe clicked on Tetaroa because I haven't been clicking on him a lot, or Trevion, just to kind of diversify a little bit. But I'm just going to take the safe pick here with Lamar, 6 points for passing touchdown. And Lamar, obviously, 41 touchdowns, 4 picks. Now, do we expect him to throw 41 touchdowns again? No, but certainly could finish as the QB1. And I don't have to worry about playing the guessing game at quarterback. Although, there's a lot of good options at quarterback this year, and I've waited a lot. I mean, I've taken a lot of Drake May, a lot of Justin Fields. I could have waited and took Herbert. I mean, Herbert, I just did the draft earlier. I think he went in the 10th round or 9th round, where normally he's kind of going past that point. Quentin Johnson, I took actually the 10th round. Hollywood Brown was flying up the board as the game was going on because you could put these guys in your lineup. You get the free look in this format, so you could put them in the lineup after the fact, because we are still drafting here. So, I like it. Maybe I should have diversified a little bit with some other guys that I haven't really been drafting as much, but we still have an opportunity to do that, with other guys on the board down the line. But back to the game on Thursday, or last night rather. So CeeDee Lamb, he's going to be a monster. 13 targets. Could have even had a bigger night if he caught a couple more of those passes. Pickens, I expect some bumps and bruises from him, but he'll have some big games for sure, and still could be in it for a career year. Ferguson, I think he's just kind of be up and down. I don't know if he's going to be a guy you're going to be able to rely on. And that's what happens when you wait on tight end. You don't take those secure guys at the top. You could draft 2 or 3 good guys. But the problem is you're not going to know when you're going to start the wrong one. So it's like, that's the same thing with the quarterbacks too. So it's like when you take a Lamar or an Allen or a Burrow, you just start those guys. You don't have to worry about playing the guessing game. The same thing with the tight ends. So Ferguson kind of falls into that mold. Kavonte Turpin, 2 catches for 18 yards, 2 carries for 9. He might be a little bit more involved in the offense this year. We'll have to see how that works out. And there goes Hampton in the 4th. Normally was going in the 3rd. He's dropping around. He dropped into the 4th in my draft just before this as well. Javonte Williams is going into the 7th round now. Again, he had a nice game yesterday. Again, I don't think Javonte is, he's not really that talented. I thought he was a little overhyped coming into the league. He did look pretty good his rookie season, but I still think he was a little overrated. He was getting a little bit too much hype. But that injury definitely slowed his career down for sure. But the thing is like, he's in this offense that's going to move the ball, and he's going to be the goal line guy. And Miles Sanders is not really a threat. He had the big fumble. Although he had a big play, but he couldn't run away from Bourne. Bourne caught up to him on that run. But the fumble may hurt him. Maybe Jaden Blue gets some carries. Maybe Phil Maffa comes back at some point. But, Williams is going to be the main guy, and he can catch balls out of the backfield, 2 catches for 10 yards. So, he might be a little bit touchdown dependent. But, he could flirt with like 12, 15 touchdowns. It's not out of the realm of possibilities for Javonte. So, he's in a good offense. They're going to move the ball. And if he's going to be the goal line guy, then it can really work out for Javonte. Now, it's just 1 week, but, when you take him in this league, you can input him, you get the points, so it all works out. That's why he's been moving up to the 7th round. Pretty much it for the Cowboys. Nothing else of note. On the other side, Jalen Hurts, running 62 yards, 2 touchdowns on 14 carries. 19 of 23, very efficient, just not a lot of yards, 152 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Saquon caught 4 balls for 24, and Goddard caught 7 for 44. So that was one thing you noticed. There's a lot of passes to Barkley. It seems like they want to get him more involved in the passing game. And, looks like they want to maybe get Goddard more involved as well. And that's to the frustration of A.J. Brown owners. 1 catch for 8 yards, and Devonta Smith 3 for 16. Not something you want to see in week 1. All right, I'm back on the clock. Thank God I got back here. All right, so we got JMO. At receiver, we got Brees. Let's go JMO. I've been drafting a lot of JMO, but I really think JMO is going to have a big season. I mean, the dude caught 50 balls for 1,000 yards last year. We all know the history, the suspensions, whatnot. So, the PEDs, the gambling. I mean, just problem after problem. And maybe he has another problem this year. Who the hell knows? I mean, it could be like like another like Will Fuller type situation where he's either getting hurt or he's getting suspended for something. And then the games that he plays, he just shows out. But it really seems like this year, John Moore and the new OC, and they're moving them all around. They're getting them on different routes, shorter routes, not just a lot more deep routes. So it's going to be a little more featured this year. We'll see how much that hurts St. Brown. But after Worthy got hurt tonight, we don't know what's going on with him. He could be out for a little while. Devonta had a slow start. Pickens had a slow start. So JMO's kind of up in the air there. DK, we got to see how that chemistry works for Rodgers. He's kind of the only guy there. You got Roman Wilson and the tight ends in the running game, but DK should get a lot of targets for sure. But still, we got to see how that chemistry works out with him and Rodgers, and if they fit together. I mean, it should work out. I just haven't been drafting a lot of DK. And then DJ Moore. I mean, you got all those other guys in the building. You got Rome, you got Burden, you got Loveland. So that could be a little bit crowded. And how good is Caleb going to be in his second year? So that's why I like JMO, the stability, good offensive line. We know Goff is a nice, accurate passer. That offense is going to be solid once again. Ridley's another good pick. I mean, he's going to get peppered with targets by Cam Ward. I mean, it just seems like the Terry McLaurin situation. And then I could have went running back there, Brees. Brees, somehow sticks around. I'll definitely take him. But I could take Harvey. I haven't actually been taking a lot of Harvey, so maybe I'll jump back to Harvey here instead of taking receiver. But yeah, so Goddard and Barkley heavily featured in the pass game. Devonta Smith just 3 for 16. AJ Brown 1 for 8. Killer. Jahan Dotson caught the one bomb, 51 yards. Beautiful pass by Hurts. His best pass of the day. So Hurts comes away with a pretty good fantasy day, over 20 points. Saquon gives you, 18 points. He gets in the end zone, 18 carries for 60 yards. Just 3.3 yards per carry. Didn't really break only had one big run, 16 yards. So I don't know, the yards per carry, I don't know how concerned you are. He had a great catch, though, one-handed catch. But I do think they're going to try to get, it seems like with this new offensive coordinator, they want to get, use his dynamic ability a little bit more and get him a little bit more in the pass game. So, Saquon could catch a lot of balls. Now, Shipley came in. He looked good. Had a 20-yard run, but then he hurt his rib and he was out. So, we saw A.J. Dillon, but Shipley looked nice, and it looked like they wanted to kind of keep Saquon fresh. Seemed like Shipley was going to have a little bit of a role there in this game. So, if he's out there, I know he got hurt, but definitely want to keep an eye on Shipley in your leagues, especially if you're a Saquon owner. And there is a slight outside chance he could have some flex value. I don't know how consistent it will be, but if you're starving for running back help, it's not a bad one there. Brees Hall gets autoed to the person right before me. So I said I was going to go RJ Harvey. I kind of like, James Conner doesn't get any more solid than James Conner. I mean, just does it year in and year out. I haven't been really taking a lot of Harvey. I mean, a lot of Harvey or Conner. I kind of miss out on Harvey a lot. I mean, Conner is the safe pick. Harvey's the sexy pick. All right, let's go Harvey. Chasing upside here. He could catch a lot of passes. Dobbins is in the way though. I mean, so how do you weigh it? Connor is much more the guy than Benson. And Dobbins Harvey could be kind of a split. So Connor probably is the better pick there, but that could change as the season goes on. Harvey could have a strong finish. And Connor, we know he has his injury histories, but maybe maybe it's a little bit more Benson this year. We'll have to see how that shakes out in week one. We're going to pay attention to that. Kind of like if you're taking Connor, it's a good idea to take Benson as well. Or if you're a Connor owner, if Benson's out there, keep an eye on him. Ibuka is a guy that you have to jump for. I mean, he just steams up, and the opportunity is just there. He should have a very, very nice season. I got him in my home league the other night, which I was happy about. 14-team keeper league. Team came out pretty good. But yeah, him and Pearsall. I mean, they're jumping over, Waddle and Judy and Flowers and now Pickens and Devonta and Worthy because Worthy's obviously out. We'll see how far he falls down in this draft. So as far as Philly in that game, that's it. So, Philly starts 1-0. But I thought Dallas's offense looked good. Their defense played somewhat formidable. The first half, again, was like Dallas couldn't stop Philly. Philly couldn't really even stop Dallas. Dallas just kicked a couple field goals where Philly was scoring touchdowns. There was like no punting going on. And the second half, there was that delay. They were eating cold cuts. I don't know what the hell happened. It was like an hour delay. The game didn't resume till like 11:30. And would it end like 12:30, 12:45 or whatever it was. And just 3 points in the second half. And then tonight was an interesting game. I mean, one of these teams in the AFC West is going to be left out. I mean, they could all make it, but then like maybe the Bengals miss because the AFC North is tough too with the Ravens and the Bengals. So it's like either one of these teams is going to be left out in the AFC West or the Bengals are going to be left out of the playoffs again. And I don't know. I mean, Mahomes, man, he kind of, he was running more in this game. They lost Worthy early on. That definitely hurt them. He was kind of trying to figure out, who he should go to. But Hollywood Brown, man, 16 targets, 10 catches for 99 yards. Crazy. What a value. He's been in drafts too. So actually, Mahomes now is up into the 5th round after that game. Just goes now, as you guys can see. So, again, you get the points for tonight. You can insert into the lineup. You get the free look. So that's kind of a cool thing when you do these drafts. So if you guys want to do one of these next year, you could do one of these late ones and take advantage of the games played and pick and choose who you want to put in. Again, QJ is going to move up. Hollywood Brown's going to move up. We'll see how it all shakes out here. But yeah, Mahomes up to the 5th round, and Mahomes was running more. He was trying to do everything he could to win that game. 24 of 39, 258 and a touchdown. He missed a couple deep balls early to Thornton, and then he hit one deep to Thornton and also Hollywood. I don't know if the Hollywood one was a deep pass. I know the Thornton one was a deep pass, 38 yards. Nice catch by Thornton as well. Kind of like Thornton when he came out of Baylor, when he was drafted by the Patriots. Yeah, he had size and speed. What is he, 6'3" or 6'2", 6'3"? He's ran like a 4'4" or 4'3". Just never panned out. I think he was hurt a lot early on, and he was on some terrible teams and quarterback situations, a crowded receiving room. So, maybe he finds a little bit of a home here in Kansas City, and he's a guy to kind of pay attention to. He could kind of maybe have that MVS role in this offense. And, with Worthy out now for we don't know how long. I mean, if you guys missed it, they ran a mesh concept, double drags, and Kelsey just rocked his freaking shoulder. And he got knocked out. He didn't see it coming. Freaking Worthy did not see it coming, and he was on the ground for a couple seconds. He got up, and it was early. It was the first drive maybe, and he didn't return to the game. So we'll have to wait and see. But that gives opportunity to Taekwon, possibly Hollywood. Man, he looks like a smash right now. I mean, with no Rice and no Worthy, I mean, he's going to get peppered. And another guy to pay attention to is Jalen Royals. If he comes back next week and is healthy, he might be ready to go. So that's a guy you might want to go pick up. And if you could put him on the IR in your league because he was ruled out, that's something to consider too. He does a lot of the things that Rice can do. I mean, he works in that slot. He could play outside too, but he could work in that slot, and he could break tackles. He's good after the catch. So with Worthy and Rice out, I mean, there's only Juju. Yeah, I would think if Royals shows out a little bit, and Reed kind of takes a little while to groom his rookie receivers up, but take a chance on the talent. Forget about Juju Smith-Schuster. He had that one good game last year. Everybody kind of chased him on the wire, and he didn't do anything the rest of the year. 5 for 55 for Schuster in this game. But Hollywood, huge game again. 10 for 99, 16 targets. Mahomes, 6 on the ground for 57 yards and a touchdown. And then 24 of 39, 258 and a touchdown. So pretty decent fantasy day with the rushing and the yards and the 2 touchdowns for Mahomes. And then Pacheco, disappointment. 5 for 25. Only got 5 carries. He'll be their main ball carrier. But they were kind of playing from behind. They were kind of playing, catch up a little bit. And they weren't really getting much going on the ground. But also Hunt mixed in a little bit too. I was kind of assuming that Hunt was going to kind of take a little bit more of a back seat to Pacheco this year, but it seems like Hunt's going to kind of stick around. We'll see how long that lasts, but I don't know about Pacheco right now. I mean, he should have better games, but it's a little bit concerning after that week 1. But still in a good offense, could still have a pretty nice season. All right, back up. We need a receiver. Olave, Myers, Debo, Jennings. Could go Matthew Golden as well. It's another possibility. I would have taken Judy if he was available. Jennings is back. He's healthy. All right, let's go Debo. If Jennings is still there on the way back, maybe I'll take him. And there goes Golden right after me. So, yeah, Pacheco though. I mean, I don't know what to think. Brashard Smith played a little bit too. Elijah Mitchell was a healthy scratch. Brashard Smith didn't really do anything though. He was also playing on special teams, but he was out there. But Hunt 5 for 16 on the ground. He caught 2 balls for 10. Pacheco caught 2 balls for 3. Again, it was kind of a weird game. They weren't really running that much. They really weren't getting too much. Pacheco had that one nice 10-yard run. He did average 5 yards a carry. So they may lean on him a little bit more next game. It could have just been like, maybe they, just whatever. They got away from the run tonight. So, you don't want to go too crazy off one game, but if Hunt's going to be involved, that's going to hurt Pacheco. And then if, Brashard Smith's going to kind of keep developing a role more and more, that possibly could hurt Pacheco as well. But again, the guy's a 7th round pick, but he has performed well for them. Last year, he was not healthy, obviously. He's looked healthy in the preseason. He looked pretty good tonight. He was running hard like he usually does. Derwin James came up and popped him one time, though, and he looked like he got a little bit wrecked on that hit. And, Pacheco runs pretty physical. James really freaking lit him up a little bit. So, yeah, we'll have to see on Pacheco. I think you just remain patient right now. You don't go too crazy, panicking. But let's talk about the Chargers and what we saw from them. I mean, that was after I make my pick, we'll talk about it. Jennings is still there. We got two backs. There goes Javante right before. Again, seventh round for Javante. Yeah, let's go Jennings. He's back. He's ready. He got paid a little bit. That little mini extension, whatever the hell he got. Some incentives, I guess it was. And it sounds like he's healthy. He's ready to go. Yeah, 3 million in playtime incentives. So, you know, it's a little bit something, I guess. Yeah, he already had a pretty decent. They were kind of paying him a decent amount before that, so we'll see. He's been out a long time. Calf injuries are always concerning. He could definitely re-aggravate it, but maybe that some of that was just him not wanting to be out there because he wasn't completely happy. Again, requested a trade or whatever. They kept him in the building, um, and he's ready to go. So I was drafting him early. I laid off him, so I'm happy to bring him back into the mix. And it's good for the Niners with Pearsall and Kittle. Ayuk's going to be out for a while. Debo's out of the way. So, Jennings and Purdy had a really nice connection. And even Purdy and Pearsall were showing a nice connection as well. So, big hope for the Niners this year. I think they should have a nice year. Schedule eases up. Definitely expecting over 10 wins. I think their total is 10 and a half. So, should be a nice season. Now, the CMC, he said that he's fine. People are overreacting. He feels great. Drafters, it was kind of weird. He wasn't falling into the second round at all of late. Early on in the draft process, April, May, maybe a little bit of June, he was kind of sometimes falling into the second round. But then, and once we hit like the end of June or July, it was like all the time he was in top 10 or top 8, whatever. But now people are bugging out because of what happened last year. But he says he's fine. He says he's ready to go. So if you're taking CMC, make sure you're backing him up with Brian Robinson. He's the clear backup. Or if Brian Robinson's still out there in your waiver wire, make sure you go pick him up. It's a good insurance plan because any running back in that system is going to be pretty productive. All right. So again, I just did 2 drafts before this and I took a quarterback and a tight end and my teams just didn't come out right. And they were bigger money leagues. And so, we'll see how those teams turn out. I'm kind of a little bit uneasy, if I'm being honest. But again, you get the stability of a really good tight end who acts like another receiver too in George Kittle. And, George Kittle could be in for a career season. I mean, he really could. Um, Either way, he's in for a nice year. And get him in the 5th round's nice where I got him in the last draft. So it's just, I don't know how I feel about it taking that quarterback and tight end. And it's something I didn't do all year. And I did it in these 2 drafts in particular, just to kind of play it a little bit safer and get some more security. And I thought I could kind of make it work. Now I pounded receivers and I pounded a lot of running backs, a lot of guys with upside. So I'm going to need some of those guys to hit. Like in the last draft, I took Corum and Jarquez Hunter, because my running back room wasn't the best. I believe it was Bucky Irving, Pacheco, Jordan Mason, Ramondre, and then I had Blake Corum, Jarquez, and one other running back, I think. Oh, Kenny Gainwell, I think I took. So, you take the backups for the Rams. It's in case something happens to Kyron. Obviously, you're never rooting for an injury, but if something does happen, you got that combo of backs, which is going to be great. I mean, Kyron's nice. He's a quality back. He's durable. He gets the job done. But if Corum or Jarquez step into that system, they're going to look pretty good too. So um, I was kind of happy I got both those backs. It's not really something I've been doing. I've been taking more Jarquez because I kind of like him more than Corum. But it seems like Corum really has that backup job. He was the guy waiting in the wings all last year. He's the guy that they drafted last year. He had a very, very successful career at Michigan. So, he could step into a nice role there. All right. Coming up here again, we just took two receivers. J.K. Gott. Look at Pacheco now falling into round 8. Wow. Wow. Okay. Now, I like Caleb Johnson. I took Pacheco in the last draft. Um, you got ETN, you got Cam, Scatabo. I could take two quarterback. I mean, you could take two running backs here. I'd like to get Cam because I haven't been getting him late. People have been snatching him. Pacheco is still sitting there. People are shook by that game tonight. Jordan, I'll get to your question in a sec, man. Let me just make this pick. Thanks for hopping in with us tonight. There goes ETN. Tyler Warren goes. He gets bumped up. People are excited about him. So we need another running back. Do we want to skip on Pacheco and go with the upside play and Caleb? Let's do it. If Pacheco somehow falls to me at the 101, 101st pick here in the 9th round, I will take him, but I'm expecting somebody to take him here. Although I do like taking Cam Scatterbo too and get steamed up on a lot of these drafts. It may take him a few weeks to do something, but he certainly could be nice. I like him. I think he could be the main guy. They could possibly trade ETN or maybe Bigsby at some point. That is possible. So Tune is exciting for sure. All-time leading rusher at Virginia Tech. That size speed combo. He's definitely built for it. Has some nice runs in the preseason. A lot of running backs in the preseason look good. But all right, let's get to Jordan. What's up, man? Welcome to the show. Is it crazy if I start Hunter over JSN? Feel like he's going to go crazy versus Carolina. I wouldn't say it's crazy. But obviously JSN's the safer pick. We really haven't seen what Hunter could do in the NFL yet. Obviously, we're all expecting good things. He's immensely talented. We don't know how much yet to divvy up the offensive defensive snaps. Could that be like on a game basis? Could it be a fixed thing? We don't really know yet. I did actually go to their camp, the Jaguars camp, and I don't know how they were working with them. I think maybe like one day they used them on defense, the next day they used them on offense, but mostly they're using them on offense in camp because they obviously felt like he needed more work there because he's just so naturally talented playing corner. And this was end of July, so not too long ago, and he was playing in the slot a lot. Caught a screen pass. He caught a pass in the back of the end zone, but he was out of bounds. And then he ran another route. It was a double move. He slipped on the double move and fell down towards the end of the practice. But, supposedly everybody says he doesn't get tired. He kind of looked like he was a little bit tired, to be honest with you. He looked like he wasn't really running at full speed from what I was watching. So I think, it may take him a little bit of time to get fully acclimated to playing the receiver position in the NFL. Because I think in the college he could just rely on his athleticism and his speed, obviously, to beat a lot of those college athletes. But the NFL to be a little bit different now. He's still going to get a decent amount of work, a decent amount of catches, and that could be a little bit of a sneaky shootout. Panthers Jags 46.5 total, and then the Seattle game. Seattle's at home. Weather looks okay in both games. And 42.5 total against the 49ers. It's just going to be JSN. It's going to be and Cooper Kupp. There's going to be a lot of play action in that run game. So that should, that running game, the threat of that running game, that Clint Kubiak running game, which we kind of saw with, Herbert tonight. We still got to talk about that game or that side of the game anyway with the Chargers. But I think I'd go with JSN, man. I mean, I think, obviously you took him higher in the draft. I just think it's the safer bet. I mean, look, he went into the second round in this draft. I think that's the way you got to start off the year. Now you could be right. And I don't think you're crazy with going with Hunter, but I think, to start it off, just go with the draft capital in JSN, who, obviously had a breakout season last year. Should have another nice season again this year. Darnold is still capable. I don't think it's a downgrade going from Geno. It could be be a little bit of an upgrade going from Geno to Darnold. So, the offensive line pass blocking could scare me a little bit, but JSN will get plenty of targets, plenty of looks. And look at this. Oh, Pacheco did get drafted. Yeah, so I would go with JSN, but I don't think you're crazy if you wanted to go with Hunter. And if you wanted to go with Hunter, go with your gut. I'm not going to hate on it. All right. But thanks for the question, man. Appreciate it. Let's make this pick, then we'll get to Randy. All right, let's go with Cam. Like it. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I just like how my teams turn out. They just feel more balanced. When you don't take a quarterback and a tight end in these drafts, you could really build nicely through the first like 10, 11 rounds before you take your quarterback or tight end. I kind of like to take, my quarterback, tight end, like, 9, 8, 9, 10, 11. So like the first 7 or 8 rounds, you can really build a nice balanced team. But then again, you could guess wrong on the quarterbacks, or you could guess right, but then you're kind of messing up on who to start every week. So when you take a guy like Lamar, you just know he's in your lineup and he's going to be pretty damn good for you every single week. Same thing with the tight ends. But I do think that, you can build a little bit more balanced teams and a little bit more safe, kind of more upside and more stronger teams. Maybe not quite as safe, but maybe a little bit more upside. So I think ideally in the first 6 rounds, either you take a quarterback or a tight end. And if you do both, if you take a quarterback and a tight end the first 6, 7 rounds, you're going to have to hit. So I did that in the 2 previous drafts, something I don't really do. We'll see how it works out. We'll keep you updated on those teams throughout the year. I'll let you know how we're doing. But happy to get Scatterbo. Tootin goes there too. I kind of like his upside. Ollie Gordon is a guy I haven't been taking, but he could certainly jump into a nice situation there in Miami. All right. Randy Miller says, had my 12-teamer, Puka, London, Walker, Abuka, Hunter, Puka, London, Walker, Hurts. I like it. Weakness is my RB2 with Eckler getting the start, but he got a nice floor, then tight end is Ingram or Loveland. Seems like the Chargers want to sling the rock more than anticipated. You got any thoughts on this? Yes, we wanted to. I wanted to talk about the Chargers side of the ball. We talked about the Thursday night game. We talked about the Chiefs side of the ball tonight. So yeah, Eckler should be nice though, man. With B-Rob out of the way, he should get maybe a little bit more of an uptick, but obviously, yeah, not the strongest RB2 there. It's not ideal. But as far as the Chargers, I think that they came out with a good game plan tonight because, the Chiefs, they want to kind of get you in these slugfests, and the Chiefs kind of play so slow. The last couple of years, they're kind of like running the football, dink and dunk passes. So the Chargers were like, let's come out firing. They're going to expect us to run. That's what Greg Roman does. That's what Harbaugh does. Let's get ahead of them. Let's force them to kind of be, have to pass more and not be able to, play that, or throw deep more, which they haven't been doing, kind of get them out of their style the last couple of years. Although the Chiefs have been talking about throwing downfield more. But yeah, I mean, it was so effective. I mean, Herbert, we all know he's been really, really solid, but this is like definitely the best wide receiver room he's had. With like multitude of different guys. I mean, he's had Keenan and he's had Mike Williams, but like those guys were always getting hurt, Josh Palmer, but now you got Keenan back in the building and he looked good. Ladd obviously is like, an up and coming superstar wide receiver in the league. Then you bring in, Trey Harris, who didn't do too much tonight, but he was on the field. And then Quentin Johnson, who was a first-round pick. And, this is his third season now. And you still kind of see with him, he's dropping passes, but he's got that speed. He could separate. And, they got to just use him the right way, like those deep crosses and like drag routes to utilize his speed. That seems like the way to use him. And then on play action, the defenses are going to bite on the run a little bit. And they ran a ton of that tonight. And Herbert was just throwing darts left and right. So, I mean, Herbert, we saw him, with Brandon Staley, throwing for what, 40 touchdowns that was near that 38 touchdowns and all those yards, like almost 5,000 yards, whatever it was. So he's certainly capable of that. And they have that in their bag if they want. Now, Hampton, I kind of thought he was overrated a little bit as a runner. He's not really like a true burner. He's a big back, but he does break tackles, but he kind of goes down easily and his feet are kind of slow too. Now he's in a great opportunity and he got a ton of usage tonight, but I do think Najee's going to get a little bit more burn. We saw Hampton, run out of bounds in the first half and they went back to him, but I think that's mostly because Najee's been out so long. He just came back. So Najee's going to work in more. Unless Hampton really, really shows out, maybe in the next game. And while Harris is still kind of ramping up, but Harris should get more looks next week. So I don't know. I always kind of thought that Hampton was being overdrafted all year, and we'll have to see how that plays out. But yeah, I think the Chargers will be passing. They'll be passing more, especially after what they saw tonight, with their passing game against a very, very solid Chiefs defense. All right, back on the clock. Let's go. We got to go Njoku here. Him and Joe Flacco are boys. He's going to get a ton of targets. And I could back him up with Fannin later if I want. That's kind of something I've been doing. Thanks for the question, Randy. I was facing Hampton, so I'm super glad the Chargers were so pass heavy. Man, Keenan looked good, man. I mean, he's 33. So that's kind of why I thought Cooper still had juice. Like he's only 30. Cooper could have been good. He just lost the passion. I guess he just, lost the passion for the game. But it's kind of good news for, maybe a guy like Cooper Kupp, who's in a pretty good situation still. I mean, it's basically just him and JSN. I know Torrey Horton's there, but Cooper Kupp might be in a decent situation. QJ was awesome. I actually drafted him in the last draft, and I get his points. I took him in the 10th round because there's really nothing left at that point. It was like there wasn't that many great guys. So I get those points for QJ. And again, like I said, he's still struggling with those drops, and he's still kind of a little bit of a bonehead, but as far as athleticism and talent, he's got it. He just got to put it all together. He's got a little bit of the Pickens in him a little bit, where he's talented but still kind of makes some boneheaded plays. And Pickens, obviously he's getting like flags all the time, fighting guys. You don't really see that from QJ, but boy, Jamie says, "What up, dude?" Jamie joined me the other night. Check him out at the Fantasy Six Pack. Also, Go for Two on YouTube. Two really good channels. Jamie says, "How's your team looking?" I'm team 8. So far we got Brian Thomas, Chase Brown, Lamar, JMO, RJ Harvey, Debo, Jawan Jennings, Caleb Johnson, Cam, and Njoku. I kind of like it. I was talking earlier, Jamie. I did 2 drafts earlier today, and I took a quarterback. I took Allen and Kittle in one, and then the other one I took Hurts and Kittle in one. Obviously, you got to do that in the first 6 rounds. So I didn't really like how my teams came out. But, then you weigh it because you have the solid quarterback and the solid tight end, and the tight end's like another receiver. And you're not kind of like playing matchups with those 2-3 tight ends that you draft, or two or three quarterbacks that you draft. But it could work out. I mean, Herbert looks like he's on his way to having a big season. He really does. That was just a hell of a debut tonight. All right. We're back up here. 1, 2, 3, 4 backs, 4 receivers, quarterback, tight end. And I kind of like the flows. I mean, those were sharp rooms I was into. So, that's part of it as well. All right. Well, we always do this. So let's go back to the well here and take Rashid Shaheed. I mean, I must own this guy like 75% of my leagues. If he stays healthy for 17 games, I mean, 1,000 yards, 7, 8 touchdowns. He may not have a ton of catches, but I mean, he'll have 1,000 yards for sure. Cullen says, I started Pacheco over Torre McMillan. Oh man. Hey man, I mean, I'm not gonna blame you for that. Wanted to see what the Rook had. Yeah, I thought Pacheco would have a good game. I took him in a guillotine league. My guillotine team I think is a little bit of trouble. I think I had who the hell did I have yesterday that played? Oh, Devonta, and I think I had Devonta and Pacheco on the same team. So I might be getting cut. We'll see. I got some other studs as well, but yeah, man, that sucks. That's what fantasy football is, man. We draft, everything looks great, everything looks gravy, everything's upside, everything's points, and then the games get played and you get shot in the mouth, and by Sunday night sometimes you're you're freaking miserable. And you're ready to just freaking go to sleep. You're just completely shot. But that's the way it is, man. There's a lot of ups and downs in fantasy football, a lot of highs and lows. Jamie says, did Hollywood Brown pull a Sammy Watkins big first game? People overspending on waiver wire. Then he falls off. I don't know, because if Worthy's going to be out for a while, and Rice is already out. I mean, who the hell else are they going to throw to? And even Royals is got some knee tendonitis, so it's like him, Juju, and Thornton. Kelsey, Kelsey didn't do much all night. He had that one big catch. It was wide open, nice play call. 37-yard touchdown, whatever it was. But he didn't do much otherwise. So I don't know. I feel like Hollywood's going to be a thing. I think he's just going to keep getting peppered. I mean, I don't know if we can obviously expect what we saw from him tonight. 15,000 targets. That huge game he put up. Let me pull the box score back up. Yeah, 10 for 99 on 16 targets, under 10 yards per catch. Um, I kind of feel like I draft better while I stream actually. I probably should have streamed those other two drafts too. I should just do like a little bit of a marathon tonight. But yeah, I think Holly will stick. Once Rice comes back, obviously, uh, that's going to change things a lot. And if Worthy comes back in a couple weeks or whatever, that's going to change things as well. But at least for the next week or two, at least I think Hollywood's going to be pretty damn solid. I don't see why not. There's really nobody else to throw to. And for some reason, the Chiefs' defense is not as good as it was, the last couple of years now. Unless Herbert just really just Harbaugh and Roman had a great game plan tonight. I thought it was perfect. I mean, I think Spagnuolo's defense didn't really know what the hell to do, and Herbert was running more too. And that's kind of what I was been saying is he's going to run more this year because he has the capability to do it. Last year he was banged up with multiple different injuries. The plantar fasciitis. I think it was MCL sprain as well. So he really couldn't run. So yeah, Herbert's going to run, and I think he had a couple of runs called back. Bill Castle 7 says, "Would you start Pearsall or Waddle?" Where am I on the board? Pearsall or Waddle? Dolphins Colts. That's going to be a sneaky shootout in the dome. Dolphins secondary is not looking good. The Colts should be able to put up some points. The Dolphins might be chasing. I could, in the dome with Waddle and Tyreek. I mean, that game could have that game could go over the 50. Now it's Daniel Jones and Tua. It could be a lot of field goals in that game too. But it might be a lot of yards. So I kind of like Waddle this week. Pearsall though against Seattle. Jennings has been out for a while. We still don't know how is he going to be able to play the full amount of snaps? So it could be a lot of Pearsall and Kittle in this game. Even CMC, with the cat, we don't, I don't know what the hell that's all about. I don't know if they're just trolling everybody or what. I mean, I feel like they just like lied to everybody last year, saying he's fine, he's fine, he's fine. And the news just got progressively worse and worse and worse as the season rolled on. It just destroyed so many people. So that's a close one. I would say Pearsall might be safer though. In this one, Waddle could explode, but you do have Tyreek, Achan, Tua. I think he holds those two receivers back a little bit. Now Jono's out of the way. We'll see how that maybe that forces them to throw downfield a little bit more. I don't know how much Waller is going to be involved. So I think Pearsall and Purdy, they showed a really good connection. Jennings is just coming back. There's no more Debo, obviously. Ayuk's still on the mend, so and a lot of those other receivers are banged up too. Coing, and I don't know if even Jordan Watkins. I don't know who the hell they're going to be throwing to. So yeah, I think Pearsall, man. I think Pearsall's really really talented. So I think that's a pretty good play. Jamie says, "I really like your team tonight." All right, let's make our pick and keep it going here. 30 seconds. I don't have any sort of stack. I wasn't even thinking about a stack here. Although we could go freaking Najee sitting there. Jamie, since you're in the building, bro, I'm going to take your boy, Cedric Tillman. I know you're really high on him. I haven't been drafting a ton of him, but I'll take him there. I got to go back to running back soon. I only have 4. I could have took Najee there, but I have a feeling Najee's going to fall to me. He might not though, because like he's the clear best pick at running back. I mean, Tank Bigsby's not a bad one. actually. And again, I think Najee's going to get a little bit more usage. He just came back, like what last week, whatever the hell it was. I mean, just got cleared, so um, I think he'll get ramped up a little bit more, and he might be fully back by like week 3. He did catch a pass, so it looks like his eyesight is okay. He actually did catch a pass tonight. I don't know if he had a carry. Did he have a carry tonight? I don't think he had a carry. I think he just caught one pass. Oh, no, he did have a carry. One carry for 5 yards. Oh. And he caught one ball for 5 yards. But yeah, back to the Chargers. So Herbert was unbelievable. 25 of 34, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He ran for 32 yards as well. Hampton, underwhelming night, 15 carries for 48 yards, caught 2 balls for 13. Again, I kind of felt he was being overdrafted. He'll have some better days for sure, but I think Najee's going to, this was kind of his chance to, have a good debut and stay more ahead of Najee, and he's running out of bounds, gave the Chiefs a chance to kick a field goal before the half. Harbaugh was kind of upset. They did go back to him, but I think Najee obviously has been out. He'll ramp up a little bit more. So we'll have to wait and see how Hampton looks. Had a couple nice runs, but there were some other runs where he didn't really have much room to run either. So it's kind of hard to say. But QJ, 5 for 79, 2 touchdowns. Now, is Herbert going to be able to spread the ball and, have these as good games every week? Is QJ going to be a consistent option every week? Did anybody take Quentin Johnson yet? I'm talking too much over here, guys. There goes Najee. Yeah, somebody must have took him, right? Yeah. There goes Najee. Shit. The guy got auto picked. I will take Fields. Back up. Would have been nice to have Najee there, though. Then Ladd, 6 for 74. Keenan Allen, 7 for 68. The tight ends are a little bit involved too. Conklin, Disley, but they're not on the radar at all. Then Lambert Smith, no catches on 1 target. Trey Harris, 1 catch for 11 yards. Jamie, really like your team tonight. Appreciate that. Thoughts on my DFS lineup for head-to-head? Drake May, Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, Neighbors, BTJ. Mike Evans, Hunter Henry, Ibuka. That sounds good to me. What site is that on? Surprised you could fit all those guys into that lineup. Thoughts on my DFS tournament? Fields, Jacobs, Chase Brown, London, McLaurin, Ibuka, Njoku, Kyron, Jets D. Sounds good once again, man. The only thing about Fields, I don't know how good he's going to be against freaking the Steelers this week. But Jacobs, Chase Brown, London, McLaurin, Ibuka all sound good to me. Njoku, Kyron, Jets D. I like. I just don't know how much Fields is going to do. I could just see that being like a field goal game, defensive game. Fields maybe like under 200 total yards, maybe 1 touchdown. I don't see. Obviously, he's going against one of the best defenses in the leagues. J Cup says, "Yo, rate my draft half PPR, 12-man, pick 7, snake draft. League is 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flex, J Cup on Twitch. Welcome to the show, man. Can be tight end. Picks in order. CD, Chase Brown, Bowers, JSN, Pollard, Caleb Johnson, Golden, Adunze, Krosky Merritt, Josh Downs, JJ McCarthy, Dylan Sampson, Justin Fields. I like it, man. The quarterbacks I love. That's a combo I like to take a lot with JJ and Fields, two guys that can run. Then you got CD, JSN, Golden. Pretty damn solid receivers. We'll see about Golden. You know, how good is he going to be? Adunze, you know, I guess there's a chance for him to be number one there. I kind of feel like he's being overdrafted, but he certainly could be nice. There's a chance for him to be number one. I don't know how many guys Caleb can really make relevant there. So I would say those two receivers, you know, we'll have to wait and see, but definitely good upside there. And then you have two solids in CD and JSN. And then Chase Brown and Pollard is very solid. Love that you took Pollard. He's a solid pick. And then you get the upside of Caleb. And then you got Bowers. And then Krosky, who could earn a big role. And Josh Downs is a good pick too. So I like it, man. I would say, 12-man league. You got CD, you got Bowers, you got Chase Brown. You got two really good quarter. I would say like a B plus, A minus, man. I think that's a really solid team. Jamie says, hell yeah, Tillman. Yeah, man. Tillman, you know, I've been drafting him. I thought Najee would fall back to me, but all good. I like Tillman to go week 1 for 4 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. All right. Maybe I'll put him in. There's DraftKings for that DFS. Nice, man. I like that lineup. This is a nice lineup. Drake May, Kamara, Taylor, Neighbors, BTJ, Evans, Hunter, Henry, Abuka. I guess you're saving money with the quarterback and the tight end. I don't know how much. I haven't even looked at the DFS yet. Again, I've been drafting. Week 1 is always crazy for me. And like in general, I'm always setting my lineups to the very end. Like DFS is something you have to really plan for. I'm kind of always doing like last minute DFS. I'm a season long player. So some guys are just DFS strictly. That's all they focus on. Some guys are just best ball. I'm more of a season long, although I mix in some best ball and DFS as well. I've had some pretty decent success with DFS. But yeah, man, I like that lineup. Because I spent down on May Henry stack. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. All right, back up. Got to make my pick here. Need a running back, baby. Take Corum again. Chase Brown, Harvey, Cam, Caleb. I mean, those solid 4 running backs. I can get by with those guys. Shipley, man, he did look good. But then he's out. I don't know how long he's going to be out for. We need another tight end. We got 2 quarterbacks. We're good. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 receivers. Where did I took Quentin Johnson the 10th round in the last draft. Where the hell did he go in this draft? Oh, he went in the 8th round in this one. Wow. Keenan went in the 9th. He had a nice game. And Hollywood went in the 9th as well. Wow. I didn't get any of those guys. All right, I gotta see what I'm gonna do here. Pat Bryant, Kyle Williams, Dobbs, Trey Harris. It's gonna be tough for Trey Harris to get into the mix there, man. With Kate, with Allen and QJ and McConkey. Um, Even Lambert Smith was getting some snaps. They throw to the tight ends. They run the ball. I don't know. With Allen there, it kind of may have screwed up Trey Harris's upside this year because Allen does feel like he's going to be a pretty decent staple in that offense. I'm kind of looking for another tight end with upside. I mean, Mason Taylor has the upside. Jono, I think, is a little bit capped. I feel like he could have another year that, like in 2023, where he had 50 catches, 582, 3 touchdowns. He's not going to do obviously what he did last year, 88 catches for 884 and 8 touchdowns, especially with Fryermuth there, DK, and I don't know, just can't see it. I mean, he's a solid pick, but maybe I'll take Mason Taylor later or Jatavion. And you got Fannin too. Um, Receiver Dobbs. No, Likely's there. I could take Likely, I guess. I do have Lamar. That's the one possible stack I guess I could get. I'm going to take Will Shipley. I don't know what the hell's going on with his ribs, but if it's anything major, I'll just have to cut him. But I like the way he looked, and I think he may have a decent little role there. Obviously, it's a great handcuff in that system. And I did like Shipley coming out of Clemson. I think he's pretty talented. Um, so not a bad pick there. A Manor, I don't know what to think of him. He's like, I think he's good. I think Cam could definitely get him involved. He's going to be inconsistent though, and I think Lockett's going to have some games. So I don't know how much upside he really has. I don't know. I'm not really all the way there with him. Um, but again, we're in the 15th round. Take a shot. I'd rather have a Pat Bryant. I think Pat Bryant's a better receiver. I think Kyle Williams is a better receiver. Their opportunities may not be as good as A Manor, but I think when you're taking like your sixth, seventh receiver, I think at that point you kind of want to just. I mean, you mix it up. Obviously, opportunity is nice to have, but I feel like Pat Bryant could work himself into a nice opportunity. So could Kyle Williams, and then the talent matches the opportunity, and then you get a true breakout. Where I just don't see. Like I could see Bryant having a big season if he really had a big opportunity. Even Kyle Williams, he needs some injuries, obviously. But Bryant could like be the number 2 guy there over Mims and Franklin. Williams has got to battle Douglas, Diggs. Henry's in the way. Trevion's going to catch a lot of passes. But Kyle Williams, I mean, he could be the number 2 there too. So he's intriguing as well. Dobbs kind of is that veteran. He's going to get the ball. He's going to have some good games. He's going to have some bad games. But Reed's, playing with a broken foot. There's no Watson. Wicks is hurt. So Dobbs is a solid pick. Palmer, like Jamie said the other night, he's a jag. I agree with that. He's had his opportunities with the Chargers and just never really has been a consistent option. So I'm not going to get excited about Josh Palmer. Jamie, I want if you're still in the room with me, man, I want to read off my other roster to you, and I'll show you the roster actually in a second. You let me know what you think. Let's see. All right, fifth spot. You see this? Barkley, Achan, Kittle, Jamo, Hurts, Pollard. Then I get Tootin, but my receivers, look at my receivers. Williams, Jacoby, Cup, Shaheed, Bateman, Ayuk, Pat Bryant, Roman Wilson, Jack Betch. So I kind of had to patchwork those receivers, but I do have Barkley, Achan, Kittle, Jamo, Hurts, Pollard. Jacoby and Cup and Shaheed isn't bad either. And Tootin's a nice little upside play. What do you think of that? If you noticed, um, I took Kittle in the third and then Hurts in the fifth. And again, that's not something I normally do. And then I'll show you one more roster where I did the same thing again. And I don't know why I did this because I never really do it, this strategy. And I didn't really like the way my receivers came out. That's why I was kind of diving for these guys: Bateman, Ayuk, Pat Bryant, Roman Wilson, Beck. I think I can make it work, though. I feel like I can make it work with some of these receivers, but they just have to hit. Because my running back room is obviously solid. My quarterback, my tight end is solid. You don't really want Williams as your wide receiver one, but he could be a wide receiver one. You don't really want Myers as your wide receiver two, although he could be a decent wide receiver two. And then Cup's a question mark. Shaheed's going to be, he's going to be a nice little piece. So I don't totally hate it. And then Bateman could be solid. I could wait for him. Pat Bryant, Roman Wilson, who we both like, and maybe Jack Betch can earn a role as the season goes on. Or I'll keep that up for a second more, and then we'll bring back my live board here as we're in round 16, last draft of the year, everybody. I think anyway. Maybe I'll squeeze one more, but at least last broadcasted draft for the 2025 season. Although we're going to be doing some underdog and drafters drafts during the season. But as far as off-season drafts, this is the last one. All right, back to the board here. I said I needed a tight end. Let's wait on the tight end. Oh, Mason Taylor went. Oh, he's still there. Let's go back to receiver. Let's go to Pat Bryant again. If Kyle Williams is there on the way back, I'll take Kyle Williams. Jamie says, I like all those picks, especially Tune and all the picks above him, Brian and Beck. The only picks I don't like, but also don't hate them. Do you not like those guys as prospects, or you just don't like it because they're opportunity? Or you don't like them for this year? You like them in Dynasty, just not for redraft. Jamie says, here's a better lineup I just made. Lawrence, Kamara, Taylor, BTJ, London, Abuka, Njoku, Tet, Broncos. I like that, man. He's pretty solid. I got to get some DFS lineups in. I'll get some in for sure. Tomorrow, I got to finish my rankings. I got to do some Faab in a bunch of leagues. And then I got to get ready for dinner. With my wife, we went out to dinner with my brother and his wife. Might try to catch a movie, so that's going to take up 4 or 5 hours, but good to get out and draft like a psycho. It's kind of tough actually in week 1 because I have so much to do, but we'll get it all done. And then Sunday morning we got some more time to prep as well, so figure it all out. He says he likes stashing him in Dynasty. I agree. Good Dynasty picks. Might not be the best redraft picks, but just chasing upside in a deep draft. So we'll see how it works out. But glad that you like it. I want to show you one more team. And after I make my next pick. I'm trying to figure out the tight ends here. You got Sanders, Fannin, Brenton Strange, Quanquo. Like, how do you rank these guys, man? Quanquo, I think Gunnar Helm, I think, is going to be a little bit involved. So I think he's hurt by him. Zach Ertz is, can he continue to do it at 34? I mean, he finished the season very solid last year, and he's playing with Jaden Daniels. I don't think Ben Sinnott is coming anytime soon. So I mean, he's the guy. Brenton Strange, could have a nice season. It's kind of a little up and down last year. Had a few showouts, but then he just kind of disappeared. I kind of see the same thing happening again. I think Ertz is the better consistent option. Aquanco, I think Gunnar Helm can hurt him. Fryermuth, you got Jono in the way. Gasecki's going to be inconsistent. Forget about Kate Otten. He'll be inconsistent as well. Mason Taylor, I feel like he's got the upside to really maybe break out with the lack of options there with the Jets. And Fields does like throwing to tight ends. Komet had a career year with them a couple seasons ago. Then Jatavian's got true breakout potential as well. And I have Njoku, so I could take Fannin. Waller, forget about Higbee, Arroyo, Gray, Theo Johnson. Sanders, I don't know. I don't know if I should take Sanders, Taylor. Again, I could take two of these guys too. But I did say if Kyle Williams was there, I would take him. Let me just see how many running backs I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is Jarquez still there? Yeah, Jarquez is still there. I kind of cornered the market on the Rams handcuffs, which I kind of like. But let's take Williams. I haven't been taking a lot of him of late. I do like him. And then maybe we'll take Jarquez on the way back or another tight end. I think I got to grab another tight end. Maybe I should have just took Jarquez there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 receivers, 6 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, 1 tight end. Jamie ranks those tight ends: Strange, Chig, Ertz, Sanders, Fannin. Wow, you like Strange, huh? Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know how to rank these guys. I feel like Sanders has the best chance for like a real breakout out of that group, though. Or Fannin. If Fannin, like I think Fannin's probably the most talented. But he's got Njoku in the way. But Fannin, he was at Bowling Green, although he did ball out against some big schools too. But we still got to see him in the NFL. I just think he could. I don't know. I just loved him watching him. So we'll see. Let's see what I do with my last pick here. Let me show you this other team, Jamie. You let me know what you think. I'll keep this other one up. Where is this team here? Here it is. All right, this team. So the 9th pick, Drake London, Bucky, Josh Allen in the 3rd round, Garrett Wilson in the 4th, and Kittle fell to the 5th. Normally he goes in the 4th. The one pick I'm regretting here is the 6th pick, Pacheco. I'm kind of pissed that I took Pacheco there. I think that's the one big mistake I made. I probably should just took Javonte over him. But again, it's early, or Aaron Jones maybe. But again, Pacheco could still finish pretty nice. It's just one freaking game. The Chiefs are he's gonna get the ball in the goal line. Um, he still could have double digit touchdowns. But, Hunt, I don't know how long Hunt's gonna be in the way. Then I took Olave, Mason, who I like, Cooper Cup again, Quentin Johnston. The 10th round, I get to plug and play him in this week, so that helps me with points. Ramondre Dobbs, Rashad White to back up Bucky, DeMario, Blake Corman Hunter to corner that backup spot in LA, and take Fannin as my second tight end, and then Gainwell. So, the starting lineup is Josh Allen, Bucky, Pacheco, or this week will probably be Bucky and Mason, and then Garrett, London, QJ, and then the flex is probably going to be Olave, I guess, or maybe Cup, and the tight end is Kittle. So not bad, but this is a lot of sharks in this room, a lot of big time drafters. Team 3, this guy is the all time leading earner on this site on NFC, Chad Schroeder. He's got the most earnings. Guy invests a silly amount of money into these leagues, but very, very successful. I played in leagues with him the past couple of years. Like I've been in like 3 or 4 leagues with him, and he's won every single time. I came in last year. I was in a great league with him. I was second all year, right behind him. He just maintained the lead. But yeah, he plays with a lot of volume, but he's very, very successful as well. That's a good team, but I would have went Monty over Pacheco. Yeah, that's the one thing. That's the one pick I would have took back if I could. Again, it looks ugly now because the way he performed, but you're probably right, man. I think you're right. I think I could have went with some other guys there. Actually, Monty was gone. I couldn't even took Monty there. Shit. All right, back on the clock here. Let's pull back up the live board. We were talking about tight ends. Jarquez is gone now, so let's take a backup tight end. Do we take Taylor? Jatavian is still there too. Taylor, Jatavian, or Fannin. I do have Njoku, so maybe I should just take Fannin again. I'll take Taylor. Let's see what he does here. He's got the opportunity. Kind of reminds me like a more athletic Dalton Schultz. Jamie says Sanders. Yeah. I've been taking a lot of Sanders lately. I've been taking Taylor, so I went with Taylor, but Sanders definitely could be the better pick. Yeah, Jones over Pacheco. Yeah, I think I should. That's what I should have did. 0719 Jaden says, should I trade away CMC, Kyron, and London? Wow. CMC on Twitch. What's up, man? I like that. We're getting some Twitch people on here. I got that from Anthony. Anthony was a big Twitch guy. So we used to broadcast on Twitch. So I'm glad that we're getting some people from Twitch. Welcome, man. Trade away CMC, Kyron in London for Jefferson, Jacobs, and James Conner. Kyron isn't that much of a loss because since the league is smaller, he isn't on my starting roster at the moment. CMC, Kyron in London. Now, CMC, obviously, this calf thing, but he says he's fine. You're giving up Kyron in London for JJ, Jacobs, and James Conner. Jeez, man. CMC for Jacobs. Obviously, CMC's better. Kyron for Connor. I would give the edge to Kyron. And then London for Jefferson. Edge to Jefferson, but just slightly. I mean, you could do it if you're concerned about the CMC injury, but I think you have the better side there overall. Um, with CMC, I think CMC makes the difference, because of his ups. He's a first round pick. Um, London's a first round pick. Kyron's a, third round pick, fourth round pick. Um, Jefferson's a first round. Jacobs is a second round. Connor's, like it's fifth, sixth, whatever. So yeah, it's very close, man. I guess you could do it if you feel a little bit uneasy about CMC. Um, and you're getting JJ, who could be the number one fantasy player this year. Jacobs, Jacobs could break down too. Connor could break down. Kyron could break down. London's going to be a smash. JJ's got the hammy. That could be aggravate. You never know. It's very close, man. Yeah, I think CMC. Jamie says value wise, you're pretty much giving away CMC for Connor. I kind of agree. I think CMC is the difference there on your team. The only reason you want to make that trade is if you're a little uneasy about CMC. All right. He says he's fine. We heard the same shit last year too, though. I kind of believe him more so this year, though. It's just crazy that the calf pops up, 2 days before the season starts. All right, let's go back to Patriots D again. All right. So 1:30 here. We're finishing this baby up. Last draft of the year. Everybody like, subscribe, share. We'll be back for the season with we'll have some Faab stuff. We'll be talking waiver wire. You guys want to talk trades? We'll be doing some live drafts on underdog drafters as well. You could do the in-season best ball drafts too, which is cool. We could do those, while answering your questions. So yeah, we'll be back on live with multitude of different things, NFL picks as well. This is what we do in the off season. A lot of live drafts. I'll be on the Face Off Sports Network as well, doing different things. We do some college basketball on this show as well. A little bit of NBA. We did an NBA mock draft, or an NBA first round breakdown. You can check that out. We'll do March Madness stuff as we get closer to the tournament. Some college picks as well. So I appreciate everybody joining me tonight. Jamie, Jaden from Twitch, Jacob from Twitch. We also had Bill Castle in earlier, Cullen McKellar, Randy Miller, welcome back. Al was in the room, Jordan and Hoff joined us for a couple seconds at the beginning. I don't know if he's still watching, probably asked out, but yeah, that's going to be it. Again, like, subscribe, share, follow me on X at Fantasy Savvy. We're going to wrap this baby up with a kicker. We'll go over the team real quick, and then we'll get out of here. So the team is Brian Thomas, Chase Brown, Jackson, Jamo, Harvey, Debo, Juwan Jennings, Caleb, Scatabo, Njoku, Shaheed, Tillman, Fields, Corum. I do have Fields, so I get the stack there. Corum, Shipley, Pat Bryant, Kyle Williams, Taylor, Patriots D. So the starting lineup will be in this format. You start 3 receivers, 6 points per passing touchdown. Lamar Jackson, RJ Harvey, and Chase Brown. Brian Thomas, Jamo, Debo Jennings, Debo, and then Jennings will be my flex probably, or I don't know. Maybe I'll go with Shaheed in the flex because Jennings is just coming back, but probably still go Jennings. Then the backups: Caleb, Scatabo, Njoku, my starting tight end. Caleb, Scatabo, Sheed, Tillman, Fields, backup quarterback. Corum, Shipley, Pat Bryant Williams, Mason Taylor, Patriots D for my starting D, and my starting kicker. Yeah, normally like Boswell or um actually he's gone. Boswell. He's usually around. Um Maybe we'll go Cam Little if he's still there. But that's gonna be it, guys. Thanks for joining me tonight. Again, we'll be back for more stuff all year long. The last draft of the 2025 season. All the best to your teams this weekend and the rest of the year. If you guys need help with anything, I'm always open. You can hit me up on X at Fantasy Savvy, or come on these live shows and we'll just discuss anything you want, waivers, trades, whatever, NFL picks, and more. So that's it. Steve D'Angelo. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. See you soon.